I felt like giving up when it got too hard. It was a waiting game for mine and Johnny's relationship to get better. It was a waiting game learning to walk again.
My role as a service planner and working with Holly and understanding the injury that she had sustained was making sure that we were ticking the boxes, making sure that there weren't gaps that were going to disadvantage her recovery and I guess her long-term potential to return to her pre-injury life or what it is that's important to her.
The priorities we had with Holly first of all was to basically improve her confidence in her legs. She was pretty unconfident with walking, and when she first came to me she was still on 2 crutches, and that was probably our first goal.
And I remember how scared I was to get off my 2 walking sticks and then my 1 walking stick and then finally learning to walk again.
Everyone was on the sort of same page as, getting that as her first goal.
I might be her speechy, but it's really important that we all work together to help them out.
Watching her walk without crutches is a huge thing for both of us, really.
It also made it easier for her to go out and about in the community. It made it easier for her to make herself a meal at home because she didn't have the crutches.
We knew she'd be really determined, but it was always one of those things where you'd jump over and give her a big hug.
And so I first saw her in November, and it took until the start of February for her to actually walk into the gym, from her car into the gym unassisted without any crutches. And from there it was a big day for her, massive day for her.
And I remember happy crying walking into one of my appointments because I don't think I've ever happy cried before in my life.
Even though Holly's the driver of her rehab and what it is that's important to her, I knew that was fear-driven.
For the first 8 months I even couldn't get her out of the house, so later trying to get her into a car was another thing.
Hopping in a car was scary. Getting me in a car was hard.
It took probably about 15 sessions of working on Holly's driving-related anxiety.
But she didn't think she'd ever reach a point where she would feel safe and comfortable to drive again.
I think she told me one day she didn't know how she was going to do this because she was feared actually waking up again in a hospital bed and having to go through it all again.
Holly would have these intrusive thoughts and images, so thoughts like you're going to crash, you're going to crash, images of her car crumpled against a tree, a huge feeling of dread and anxiety when she would be behind the wheel.
But she knew that she had to do this for herself.
My first time hopping in the car was with Johnny, just so I can get the feel of it before I get thrown in the deep end.
Then sitting in the driver's seat with the engine on, driving with her partner Johnny on quiet roads, driving with Johnny on busier roads, right up to the point where she was driving by herself all the way to Adelaide, which was wonderful to see.
As soon as those physical injuries recovered, she would often talk to me and say, people think I'm better now and I'm still really struggling and they don't understand. So things like memory and attention and problem solving and planning.
It's going to be years of rehabilitation for Holly.
Probably another year, I would say. Another year. She can come in and do exercises by herself, and she does, and she's quite independent with that. But if something's a little bit heavy and she doesn't feel completely confident doing that by herself, then she just needs that person there to give her a little bit of encouragement and just have that supervision as well.
Potentially even up to 4 or 5 years from a strengthening gym exercise physiology point of view.
And it probably is one of the hardest things about road trauma is that many of the injuries that the people sustain are invisible. So she's found a real positive out of having this experience.